Naima here. I'm gonna give you 10 things you're gonna wanna know before you start your very own clothing brand. Now, I know at first it's going to be super scary. Like, starting a clothing brand, like, where do I even start when you even say those words? Like, what do I even do? I know, I've been there. I started my own clothing brand about a year ago. It's called My Affirmation Fitwear, where inside of all the leggings and the clothing, I put in powerful affirmations. I'm not going to say much more. You're just going to have to go ahead and check it out. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into these 10 tips. The first tip I'm going to give you guys, and trust me, you're going to absolutely love me for this tip, is figuring out what your why is. Like, why the heck are you wanting to even start this clothing brand to begin with? I know it seems like a simple thing to think about, but actually it's quite complex, but it's something that you're going to want to write down, you're going to want to stick it everywhere, and you're going to want to remember it and paste it in the back of your head so that you do not forget it, okay? And the reason you're going to want to do this is because starting a clothing brand, it's really hard, guys. Like, I am scared every single day. Actually, I feel scared right now. Starting a business of any kind is going to be very difficult, but when you figure out why you're doing it, why it's important to you, this is going to be the key thing that you're going to want to need to remember when things get tough. So ask yourself, why do I want to start this clothing brand? What will it mean for me if I actually follow through with it? Why is this so important to me, and what is going to be the result after I achieve the goal that I'm out to achieve? So once you figure out what your reasoning is, you put it in the back of your head, you put it on your window, you put it on your door, you put it on your refrigerator, you put it on your cell phone screen saver, you tell your mother, your daddy, your sister, your auntie, your boyfriend, everybody. Once you've done it all and it's there, you're good to go. Now, the second tip that I'm gonna give to you guys that you're gonna wanna need to know before you get started is to think about, hey, who is my audience? What kind of clothing are they gonna like to wear? Once you figure out who your audience is, who are you serving, and what kind of clothing you actually want to produce, that's gonna be a little bit easier when it comes to getting started. So for instance, my passion is health and fitness. I'm a professional bikini competitor. My audience loves cute workout tops, they love sports bras, they love leggings, they love cute crop jackets, they love hats. Like, I know what my market loves, and so when I come out with a new product, I have them in my mind. So it's a lot easier for me to produce more products and create wonderful collections that I know that they're gonna love. Another reason why I think you should think about what kind of clothing you want to sell to for your particular audience is because there's so many different kinds of clothing that's out there. You can do fashion, you can do fitness, you can do hoodies and t-shirts. I mean, you can even do clothing for kids. You got to figure out who your audience is and what kind of clothing you want to dive into. Tip number 3. What are you gonna name the thing? I don't want you to stress too much about the name. I know a lot of people think you need a name that's going to be striking, or a name that stands out, or a name that's going to gravitate, that people are going to gravitate towards. My theory is that if you think about the brands that you love so much, not the name that makes you love the company, it's what the name represents entirely. So don't get caught up in naming your brand, but I want you to think of something that you love, that resonates with you, and something that you can be really proud of. The next thing you're gonna wanna do that's going to be very important, you're gonna wanna go to uspto.gov and do a little quick search. You're gonna wanna see if your name is taken or available. If it does seem to be taken, go ahead and look at it to see if that name is active. If it's dead, then you're free to use that name. If it is active, then you might want to come up with a different name. That's going to save you a lot of time. Now, you're also going to want to look at names that might be similar. Make sure that your name isn't too similar, because you're going to want to trademark your name. You don't want to start a clothing company and, it actually take off, and then all of a sudden you're getting sued because your name is like somebody else's name and you're not technically allowed to use that name. So just to avoid any of that complication, do a quick search, come up with a name, and then after that, you're going to want to register your trademark. Now, if you guys would like me to do a separate video on trademarks and exactly what route I took to get my name trademarked, go ahead and drop it in the comments below. I would love to make a video for you. Now, tip number 4 is very important. You are starting a business. You're gonna want an LLC. You're gonna wanna do this online. I know for Floridians, you can go to sunbiz.org and register there. I registered my business as an S Corp because that allows me to hire employees later down the road. But I do encourage you to read up on the different ways that you could register so you make the best decision for yourself. Tip number 5. Number 5, set up a business account. It's not going to be easy trying to manage your money and the business's money. It's going to be very, very complicated. Make sure you set up a business account. And so awesome. When I first set up my business account, I applied for a business credit card, got approved right away with 1 year interest-free APR, which was a trap, but it was super awesome. And they do things like that to kind of get you started. So that might be something that you want to look into. But I highly recommend that you set up a business account. It's going to be a lot easier when you're trying to keep track of your expenses, and you're going to want to keep track of everything. You're going to want to keep your finances because it's going to make your bookkeeping a lot easier. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of stress knowing where your money is coming from and knowing if you're making profits or not. Tip number 6, guys, start small. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I'm going to say that again. Start small. You don't need the fancy cameras. You don't need the fancy anything. You don't need a huge marketing team. You don't need to hire someone to do this elaborate website for you. You don't even need a website to start. Like, you can literally get started on Etsy and you don't need a website. There's so much money that you can save by starting off small, and so many mistakes that you're going to save by starting off small. Don't go in this thinking that you need to have a 10-piece collection. You need to hire like a social media manager and all these different people. You need a business partner, like all these different things. Like, you don't need that. You just need to take it day by day, step by step. Trust me. My first order, I ordered 200 leggings and I couldn't sell 200 leggings. They're still sitting there. Nobody liked these leggings. I had ordered so much and I got myself in a trap, and that's not anything that you want to do. You want to start off very, very small, guys. 1 to 3 pieces, keep it simple. Whatever your niche is, design something that you see fitting and start off small. Test the waters. See if your clients actually like it. Is a product a high enough quality for you to produce more? Is it making any sales at all? Is it gaining traction? These are things you're going to want to know before you go balls to walls. Also, websites, like, start off small. I mean, I started on Etsy, and then I created my own website from scratch, and it wasn't anything fancy, but hey, it got me some sales. Like, it's totally fine what you do, and I promise you, you're gonna want to save as much money as you possibly can because you're just getting started. Tip number 7, use your free resources. You got podcasts, you got YouTube, you have books, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you got Facebook groups, Facebook communities, you got TikTok, you got blogs, you got Google. I mean, you literally have no excuse to get the information that you want to learn about, because in 2020, like, that's the most amazing part about it. You can find anything that you want to learn. Like, seriously, Google it, figure it out, you can find it. There's an answer out there, and I want you to use all the free resources you possibly can. Now, I know in Tampa, there's a community that hosts free workshops for small businesses. Look into your community and see if there's anyone else doing something like that for small businesses. I'm sure that they're out there. You just have to do the research to find them. Tip number 8, don't compare yourself to anybody. I know that's easier said than done. We all do it. I get it. I do it at times, but you have to realize that we all have different stories. You do not know what somebody's story is. You don't know why they're doing in the first place. You don't know what kind of money they have. You don't know their why. You don't know anything about them. Why would you compare yourself to anyone else? All you have to do is worry about your why, take it day by day, and if you really feel compelled to compare yourself to anyone, compare yourself to yourself. Make it your job to be better than you were the day before. Make it your job to continue to educate yourself each and every single day so that you can get better at your craft. If you spend a lot of energy in other people comparing yourself to them, that's energy that you can be investing into your own business. Trust me, like I said, I know it's tough. I do it, but I'm gonna save you some time and just to tell you to not compare yourself. Tip number 9, tell everybody, everyone you know. Tell your mama, your daddy, your sister, your grandmother, your best friends. Let everyone know that you're starting a clothing line. First off, it makes it really real. It's one thing to think something, then say something, and then actually do something. Like when you start telling people that you're doing this, they're gonna be looking. You're gonna have eyes on you. That's gonna create a little bit of pressure, but I think it's good pressure. I think it's going to give you a little bit of motivation to make sure that you're doing the thing that you are setting out to do. To make sure that you actually follow through with this dream of yours. And it's such a beautiful dream, and I know that it can come true. And number 10 is the most important tip you're gonna wanna know. Trust me, if you don't do anything, you're gonna wanna take this tip. The tip is to start. Just do it, start it. Do what you need to do in order to get yourself to where you wanna go. Start the clothing line. Just do it, just do it. Close this video right now, turn it off. Wait, first subscribe and like, and then turn it off and go ahead and start your clothing line. I hope you love this video on 10 things you're gonna wanna need to know before you start your very own clothing line. Be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel because I'm gonna be dropping videos like this one. I'm gonna give you the inside tips on what I've been doing to grow my clothing line.